There's a worrying development out of Somalia now, and the militant group Al-Shabaab is once again gaining ground in the country. The militants have reportedly retaken a town in Bakol region after the withdrawal of Ethiopian troops from the area. Analysts say the militants are stepping up their attacks to disrupt elections. They've retaken several towns now in recent days following the withdrawal of those Ethiopian troops affiliated with the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM. The United States has condemned recent attacks by Al-Shabaab in Kenya and Somalia. The White House has promised to deliver a lasting defeat to terrorist groups that seek to undermine regional stability. U.S. troops also often interrogate captured Shabaab fighters, the Times has added. Ethiopia, meanwhile, says it is intentionally withdrawing its forces from Somalia. The government has said there are no plans for Ethiopian troops to stay in Somalia indefinitely and cites a lack of international support. Ethiopia's forces are in the country under two mandates. One is with the African Union mission. The other is an Ethiopian government mandate.
The assumption all along was that the international community will continue to support the Somalia National Army in taking over places that have been liberated by our forces. But for our forces to remain, those that are not under AMISOM, to remain there indefinitely would be the height of irresponsibility as far as we're concerned. But when we evacuate those areas, we do it as responsibly as possible.
Well, let's get you more on that story now. I'm joined live from Mogadishu by CCTV's Abdulaziz Bello. Abdulaziz, what more can you tell us about Al-Shabaab regaining ground in Somalia?
Well, Beatrice, that has come as a sharp surprise and a shock to many here in Somalia. Now, as remember very well, in September, Ethiopian forces pulled out of the town of Mokokori. Now, this is in the Hiran region of the central part of the country that is on the border with Ethiopia. And also, they also pulled out of a place called Halgan, is also in the Hiran region of central Somalia. And today, Ethiopian forces also pulled out from another town that lies along the border. This is called Tieglo. It's in the Bakol region of southwest region of Somalia, rather. So all these three regions now are under the control of the militant group Al-Shabaab. Now, interestingly, Beatrice, as you've put it there in the interview, rather, with the Ethiopian foreign minister, he's saying that the Ethiopian forces are in this country under two mandates. One is with the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM. The other one is a reinforcement group, thousands in their numbers. They beef up security for other Ethiopian forces who are part of AMISOM, like in Halgan. That defensive position belonged to Ethiopian forces who are being paid not by AMISOM but by the Ethiopian government. So experts here are also saying that financial constraints are part of the problem. That's why Ethiopian forces are pulling out at this stage. But interestingly, Beatrice, is the fact that once the Ethiopian forces pull out, Al-Shabaab is very swift and very quick to retake all these areas. It seems that they're not far from these areas. So that has become a major worry, a major concern here, and a major topic of discussion in the past month.
Well, Abdulaziz, that whole situation of the Ethiopian troop withdrawal, though, has there been any response from the Somali government over that Ethiopian withdrawal, especially given that it is election time now in Somalia?
Well, Beatrice, even the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM, hasn't yet even commented on the pullout and the seizure of these towns by the Al-Shabaab. Now, the Somali government here has remained silent over this matter, in the sense that it's not that the African Union mission in Somalia, this mandate, but these are forces paid by the Ethiopian government, rather. So it has remained rather silent on this matter. But one thing experts here are saying is that there's been a lapse in the fight against the Al-Shabaab, because Somalia is now in a transition period. It's headed towards election. Now, experts are saying that the issue of security that was supposed to be given a top priority has been ignored at this stage, and all that the leadership here is thinking about is how the current government can come back into power, or how more leaders can come into power, into the Senate or into the parliament. So the issue of security has been neglected, and more people have focused their attention on politics. So this has been blamed for that, and the Al-Shabaab has threatened to disrupt this poll. So it will be interesting to note the fact that Al-Shabaab attacked Afgoye, that is 30 kilometers south of the capital Mogadishu, and attacked a police station, and the deadly assassination going on here in the capital and deadly bombings also. These might disrupt the polls, Beatrice.
Well, Abdulaziz, there was also an attack in Kenya yesterday, and the latest town to fall now to Al-Shabaab is very close to the Kenyan border. Do authorities in Somalia expect more attacks on Kenyan soil?
Well, Beatrice, Kenya has become a soft target for the militant group Al-Shabaab. Ever since Kenya sent its forces here in 2011, Kenya has witnessed a spate of deadly attacks inside Kenya, in Nairobi, in Garissa, and apparently in the past couple of months, Mandera, this is on the border with Kenya, has become the epicenter of the conflict taking place there in Kenya, where Al-Shabaab continue to launch sporadic attacks inside Kenya, killing scores of Kenyan civilians inside Kenya itself. Now, authorities here in Somalia, especially in Jubaland, this is in the Kismayo area where Kenya Defense Forces are actually stationed, and also the local administration, they are saying that the long porous border between Kenya and Somalia is part of the reason why Al-Shabaab finds it very easy to cross into Kenya and attack at will there. So the fact that the Al-Shabaab remains a potent threat in the Jubaland area itself, this is on the border with Kenya, this makes it much more easier for them to attack inside Kenya. But authorities here in Somalia are saying that there's a good intelligence gathering and a good communication between Kenyan forces and the Somali counterparts, and the intelligence, also intelligence gathering, these in terms of helping the fight against the Al-Shabaab inside Kenya. But definitely the attack in Mandera sheds more light on the insecurity along the border, Beatrice.
Abdulaziz Bello for us there in Mogadishu.